Can I just start with this? That I'm like a father, I'm so proud of you guys. You guys have worked so hard the last couple of months in building your script and in practicing into giving today's presentation. Let's give them another round of applause, guys. So that was amazing. I've got about 50 WhatsApp telling me what a great talk you guys have done. But let's dive straight into our panel discussion now that our audience have background of how you guys see family, family office, family wealth. And let's start with the first question. We talk about wealth a lot, and I tend to like to distinguish wealth and family wealth. To you guys, having been 3 generations, 4 generations, 5 generations, 3.5 generations, how do you define family wealth? Is it still money? Maybe ladies first.
I'll start. Um, Obviously, the wealth is important, and I think it's whether you consider the wealth as a scorecard or a means to an end. I think that's one of the things that, and maybe that decision changes as the generations keep coming. So the family that I married into is 5 generations, Hong Kong. And I think, the more generations that exist, the purpose grows and the sense of heritage grows. So yes, of course, wealth is critically important because it sustains the legacy, but it goes far beyond just money.
Thanks, Joanna. I want to hear a different view, and I know your speech is on family and investment, Hampton. So how do you see family wealth? Is it also majority money or all money?
As someone working for and with my father and my uncle, it's very much about the money. I'm very grateful that I'm in a situation where the goal of the family office is very simple. We want to professionalize. We want to adopt institutional best practices when it comes to investing. And that applies for both wealth preservation as well as wealth growth. So as I mentioned earlier, I come from a startup and venture background, so I'm naturally gravitated towards alternative investments. And so I've spent time in venture capital. I've followed my uncle into impact investment. I've followed my father into healthcare. But I wanted something of my own, so I looked at crypto. But at the end of the day, it's really, as a family, how do we meet our objectives? What type of returns are we looking for each year? What type of volatility are we willing to stomach? How long are we willing to have that money locked up for? And how much cash do we want to come out of that portfolio on a regular basis? So these are all questions that we ask ourselves. And, asset allocation versus security selection is what I spend a lot of time trying to upskill myself on. Yes, crypto is a passion project, but I recognize that the family will never allocate more than, let's say, 5% in crypto. And so the rest of the 95%, I need to equip myself to be able to assist my father and my uncle in stewarding the financial capital.
Thank you, Hampton. I like how we have a spectrum here from money to all the way to value, and I wonder if that comes with age. Let's go to our panelists in the middle. Manon and Yvonne, one of you guys can start. Is it very much about the money, or is family wealth more than that to you?
I'll go first. Wealth, to a certain extent, is important because it provides a stable life for the family. But apart from that, from us, just now you hear from my sharing, the wealth is more than that. It's not about beyond money. It's about the heritage we are having. It's about the culture we have, and then the family values. So that's more important to us. And now, being the 3rd generation running the business, I think it's beyond that too now. It's apart from the heritage, it's also, I really think there is, because the company has been grow with Hong Kong, it's a homegrown brand for 83 years. So to us, it's part of Hong Kong. I do have the missions to have the impact on preserving the heritage, preserving the Hong Kong culture, and preserving the culinary business, the authentic Cantonese culinary culture. So this is all the things that, apart from just the family itself, it go beyond that to us.
Thank you, Yvonne. I think in your speech, what inspired me most was how you said, I could have just sold the building and received billions of dollars, but instead, I'm now down billions of dollars because I need to buy back this heritage and continue to steward this family legacy. And that leaves you, family legacy. Is family wealth just about money?
I think wealth comes in a lot of forms. Money, legacy, knowledge, experience. Some tell me that is in heaven. I think I will let you know more when I see more of it first. Thank you.
Thank you, Manon. All right, moving on to our next question. Panelists, if you could take a look at the screen behind you, either on the left side or the right side. We're very fortunate that about 2 years ago that the government had given us funding to develop the 20 family office goals as part of the family office roadmap for Hong Kong. In your current stage of life and your family as an entity, family as a unit stages of life, which goal matters to you most? Which one goal of the 20 at the moment matters to you most? And how would you take action to achieve that goal? Maybe this time we start with Manon.
We have a big family. You heard me talking about my big family. Some of my family is here today. I think out of these 20 goals, social gathering would fit most. And how we're going to put to it, probably we'll look for sponsor for drinks and food and venue.
And Manon, are you comfortable to disclose how big your family assembly is?
More than 100.
More than 100 family members at a family assembly. That's insane. Social gathering. So finding sponsorship for drinks. No, I'm kidding.
No,
I'm kidding.
the biggest thing is they need to attend.
Of course. Other panelists, would you like to share which one of the 20 goals would matter to you most?
I think following on from what I said earlier, it would be family values and heritage. And I think it is partly because the family's been around for such a long time. And it's also a huge family. I haven't even met them all. And now scattered all around the world, actually. So how do you retain that core sense of being a Hong Konger as well, and recognizing Hong Kong as being the place it all started when fifth generation, sixth generation are all over the world. But I think the important thing here is we often get frustrated with the previous generations or the older ones who are still working and still controlling, still leading, because we feel that they may be resistant to change and that we need to change if we're going to survive. But I do believe that we can listen more to them as well. This is the whole communication piece again. There is a lot to be said from learning from history. There really is. And also there's a lot to be said remembering how Hong Kong was built and the people who built Hong Kong and that level of enterprise and the hard work and the risks that they took and the sacrifices they made. These are, it sounds very old-fashioned actually now, but these were integral traits that, mean that we are all here today. And I think if we can preserve that, if we can keep that message going, that's also really important.
Thank you, Joanna. Hampton, now that you've mentioned that it's very much about the money, can I guess that the goal that matters to you most is probably something around wealth management or investment policy?
It's actually alternative investment, so it's very close. But really, I think for the family, or at least how I try to think about it, it's this process of the conversion of social and human capital into financial capital. And what I mean by that is, in new asset classes, you usually start with asking friends, asking people you trust what they've done, what lessons have you learned along the way, and then slowly you form your own taste. And in alternative investments, a lot of time it is taste in people. Of course, there is an argument to be said that there is a formula you'd follow. Wealth growth stems from wealth preservation. But in my view, in terms of just spending time with people that specialize in either ends. I feel wealth preservation is definitely, at least when you're dealing with liquid financial assets, it's definitely a solved problem. For the right price, many people can do it for you. Whereas on alternative investments, it's very much an open field. If you are interested in hedge funds, in private credit, in private equity, in growth, buyout, venture, there's so much to look at. And it's, for us, there's just so much, and how do you prioritize? And so I think that's a evolving conversation within the family. Each one of us have our own interests, but at the end of the day, we are unified by determining how do we best proceed forward to professionalize and to adopt institutional best practices.
Thank you, Hendon. Very clear. Last, Yvonne.
Same as Joanna, family value and heritage, as you heard from my speech just now. Why is that is, with what happened, the family feud, the lawsuit, I think this really, what I really feel is because some of the family members, because the family value and the heritage to them is different. Things are not aligned. So with that lesson learned, to me, family values and heritage is really important to set the basis to avoid conflict in the future, and also set the tone. So that's the thing for me, is the most important thing to carry on, to set up, is like the basis for the governance for us.
No, I agree absolutely. In some of our, private roundtables, we always talk about, when do you steward? When are you an agent? When do you do things for the family and sacrifice yourself? And when do you do things for yourself? And absolutely, with professionals, they can help you build that wealth. But how does the family themselves continue to navigate that wealth? It's really on them. That accountability is back on the family member. That's part of your succession management. And with this, the FiBI Talk, the whole vision of the FiBI Talk is to lead the narrative. And I know it's not easy to talk about your family story in front of literally 100 other family members, but the vision is this, to have you stand up, to share your story, to let the other second generation see the consequences of what would happen when you don't focus, when you're very singular and focusing on only the money managing, and not going beyond that. So with that, thank you to the 4 panelists for embracing your identity as a family business member, family firm member. And I would like to wrap up by giving you an award. Can I have you guys stand up and receive the FiBI Talks Award?
All right, now with each of you with your awards, could you please gather at the front of the stage for a group photo?